Hello, and thank you for tuning in to Southeast Media Sunrise, dedicated to giving a voice to authors of all genres. I'm your host, Jodi Hockinson. Joining us remotely by phone today is Samantha Gollakner, author of Land of Arlenm, Book 1 in the Land of Arlenm series. Samantha is from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. She is now 23 years old. She was first published at age 18. She has written a murder mystery, children's stories, and the first 5 of an 8-novel fantasy series, The Land of Arlenm. In Book 1, an alien named Arlenm comes to Earth. He lures 6 college kids to a small hotel in Milwaukee. He places them up in the 10th room. In the middle of the night, they are transported into the lobby. They must then go through every room in the hotel to get back to room 10 and win his game. Every room is a completely different dimension they have to go through. Welcome, Samantha, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Where do you get the inspiration to write?
I always wanted to keep a childlike persona. I feel like when you keep your imagination going, you live a long, happy life. And I like to create worlds that I wish that I could have gone to when I was a kid and, kind of escape from when I was reading.
Oh, that's a great outlook. How do you deal with the emotional impact of a book on yourself as you are writing the story?
Well, for me, writing the series, everything in here is kind of a self-help book meets fantasy. So there's a lot of personal battles that the characters have to go through, as well as outside world problems that we all face in everyday life. And most of everything I write about, I actually went through it. So it's very hard to relive those feelings as I do it, but I hope it can help someone else.
That's very thoughtful. How long have you been writing?
8 years.
How do you develop your plot and characters?
Most of my characters are based off people in my normal life. I like using them. I feel like it kind of gives them a special place, knowing that something about them I found so intriguing that I wanted to create a fantasy character based around their traits. Most of my plots kind of come through my head like movies, so I like just freely just writing and seeing where it goes from there. I never actually do a diagram or anything like that. It just kind of flows.
So you've been writing since you were 15. When did you first consider yourself an author?
When I was 18 and I got published. It felt real then.
On a typical day, how much time do you spend writing?
I try to write anywhere between 5,000 and 7,000 words a day. Some days I can write that in maybe like 2 hours and just have the rest of the day off to do other things. But there are some days that I sit there and I can write for like 7, 8 hours straight.
How do you deal with poor reviews? Have you ever had one?
Yes, I have had a few. The first time I got one, I really didn't know how to feel. I was kind of like, oh, is this really something I should be doing? And it actually made me feel better to go online and look up other authors that are, really big and bestsellers and be like, oh, they all have them too. So it made me feel a little bit better, but it does kind of mess with you a little bit in your head. Like, oh, they're right. Should I change this? Do I take it into consideration or not? But I always try to think, will it make me better? And go from there.
When writing a series, how do you keep things fresh for yourself and your readers?
Land of Arlenm is the first series that I've written so far, and with this one, it's really fun because everything changes book to book so drastically that the only thing that stays the same is the 7 main characters. For me, it makes it easier to write because I get to pretty much write a whole entire another book every single time. One of the things that I hated about reading series when I was younger was I felt like only a few small things changed, and I try to put into my books what I wish other books had.
So would you say these are standalone books? If somebody were to pick up book 2, would they be able to glean what's happening?
I have a lot of people ask me that, and unfortunately, you'd have to read at least the first 6 chapters of the first book, just because it kind of gives the introduction to the characters, why they're there, and it has the rules of the game in it. But once you read that, you can pick up any book in the series, go through any order, any world you want, and you'll still get the same effect.
So let's talk about your publishing journey. What was your favorite part?
I liked that I had help. It was definitely a different story when I had someone that I could kind of bounce ideas off of because I really didn't know what I was doing. Still kind of don't, kind of wing it. But it was a lot of having someone to be like, do we go to this event? Do we do this signing here? I liked the help. I liked that they helped me market, gave me ideas, just made me all around better in my job.
So what's your least favorite part of the publishing journey?
That they have a lot of control over you. They, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of hard to always fit into that one genre that they really want you to write. When I was in the house, I wanted to write different genres, and I remember them telling me, most authors don't do that. That's not something you should do. And just me in general, I like doing things differently. So I like having the freedom to just be me and put my own spin on every aspect of my job.
Do you find it more challenging to write the first book in a series or to write the subsequent novels? I know you've only written one series, but so far, what would you say?
I would say that the first one is the hardest, just because in that point you're trying to develop your characters. You're trying to make sure that everything is it flows really well, making sure that it just has a good foundation. So I definitely think that the first one is the hardest one, because the other ones, it flows in, you got stuff going on, you got stuff to relate back to, and it's more exciting as you go through it, more events are happening. The first one's definitely the hardest.
So you've completed 5 out of 8 books so far. That means you're working on book 6 right now, right?
Yes.
So do you know when that's expected to come out?
Yes, I release one of the series every 6 months, every May 5th and November 5th.
Is there any reason that you've picked these particular dates, or was that a choice your publisher made for you?
I actually, when I was 19, I left house. So I've done the series on my own. But that was just something I had a lot of fans come up to me and be like, hey, when's the next book going to come out? When's the next book coming out? And I'm like, dang, you people read fast. So I was doing it where I was planning on doing one book a year, but then I had so many people that were like, when's the next one? So I was like, every 6 months, and it just ended up that May 5th and November 5th were that. And now it got to the point where even that isn't enough for them. So I want to be the first author to write every single genre. So every 3 months now I release a book. So August 5th, I'll release a romance in between my series release.
Are you worried in any way that when you're writing something in a different genre that people will pick up the book in the other genre and expect something different from what they're used to reading?
I have had fans too. That was the problem that my publisher was talking to me about. She's like, people normally don't follow the author, they follow the genre. She's like, so that's why we kind of have people stick to their own little genre. And I had tested it out with a children's Christmas story after the murder mystery, and almost every single person that got the murder mystery got the children's book. And they were all giving me really good feedback on it, and they were saying that I was pretty good at being able to divide the different genres so drastically, from going from a murder mystery to a children's book. They're like, we didn't know what to expect. But they seem very happy with it, and most of those people also followed into the sci-fi series, even though sci-fi isn't their genre. So I'm kind of hoping that continues. I hope anyone that is a fan of these genres and it's their main one, I hope that they too enjoy it, and I hope I do each genre justice when I write them.
Where can readers find out more about you and your books?
On my website, I have a little bit about me. I have where you can get my books on there. I try to post on there as much as possible. It's kind of my own little blog to try to post events. But if anyone really wants to either get in contact with me or see more about what everyday life is for me or the events I'm doing on social media, that's pretty much where you can find me all the time.
And that is at booklifeblog.com, right?
Yes.
Super. Now, if anyone is interested in purchasing the book, where would they go?
You can get it through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, Kmart, Walmart. It's in a few coffee shops here locally in Texas, around Fort Worth area, but mostly everywhere books are sold in big companies.
Anyone interested in purchasing this book can log into semediapro.com or visit amazon.com. Many places where books are sold. You can also go on to Barnes & Noble. This book is available in Kindle and paperback, free on Kindle Unlimited. You can also visit booklifeblog.com for more information. That's Samantha Gollakner, author of Land of Arlenm, Book 1 in the Land of Arlenm series. Thanks again for joining us today, Samantha.
Thank you.
And listeners, if you're interested in getting your book published, please visit us at semediapro.com and click on the book publishing link. This is Jodi Hockinson, host of Southeast Media Sunrise, Southeast Media Productions. Like us on Facebook at Southeast Media Productions, or visit our website at semediapro.com.